Hey there, it's Vicky Marie, and I'm sitting here getting my skincare done, and I thought I would start my video here. John's on the treadmill, so I have like a 30-minute window where he will not be interrupting me. This retirement life, I really, really enjoy it, and but it takes some getting used to having us both home all the time. He's making the coffee every morning now, which is nice because I get up. I'm not getting up as used. I used to be part of that 5 a.m. club, and I'm not anymore. This morning I slept until 7:20, and it was probably closer to 7:30. And I thought, wow, I've really changed. But right now we're home. I've got some luggage here, and that's we're in between a couple of trips. So some camping, and I feel like my camera is wonky. And so I thought I would share a little bit about a health update. I'm just really, really excited about sharing some of this with you because I've worked really hard on getting my blood work and my numbers back uh, in sync. So if you've been with me for a while on my vlog, even before I started vlogging, I weighed about 30 pounds more than I do now. And let me see, is that right? About 25 pounds more. I was at about 155 pounds. So, that's not a lot. I'm 5'5", and that was, that was a lot at the time. I'm long-waisted, kind of have shorter legs, and I carried a lot of that around my hips, um, my legs, that kind of thing. I was just on the edge of becoming an empty nester. And I was going through some stuff, really going through some stuff. First of all, I turned 50 years old. My youngest was getting ready to fly the nest, and I was really having a hard time with it. I was going through a health crisis. I was a little scared. And so after running some tests, basically what happened was my red blood cell count was so low. I wasn't getting enough oxygen to my organs. And because of that, my heart, in fact, my doctor explained my heart had been working harder than it really needed to. And because of that, there could have been some heart wall thickening, that kind of thing. But this was 8 years ago. And I was told by two healthcare professionals that I was at risk for stroke. Now, my own father had passed away at 54 of a massive heart attack. We have some genetic things going on my mom's side, and we know that we've lost people very early to heart issues. And so when we have a birthday like we did recently, uh, where our family's getting into the 87 and 80, we celebrate like that. We need to celebrate life. It's amazing. And those are my role models right now. So I'm really, really excited. But honestly, for a long time, I thought I would be lucky to get to 70, 75. Now I'm 58 now. And at some point after my daughter was getting ready to move out, I went into this, I don't know, existential, I would say depression, but I was functional. It was just I bottled it up inside, and I didn't say anything to anybody. And later I explained to my husband what was going on inside of my mind. But at the time I'm like, well, I'm probably not going to live that long anyway. And what do I have to live for now? My kids are gone. I had a career, I did, but I felt like, I'd been doing it for a long time, and I just felt like my passion wasn't there, and I felt like uh, I just felt like I wasn't really needed. I wasn't really needed. What was my purpose? So um, after I went through that incident, going to the hospital, having people tell me that, it was almost like that day looking up, I had made a decision. No, I'm not ready to go. I am ready. I'm not ready to give up. And I started fighting that day. That's how I would say it. I started fighting, and I got on track, and I hired a trainer, and I worked at where I'm at today. And it is really something I celebrate. And one of the things I say to people is do not let anybody define your goals and who you are. I've heard so many people tell me, well, wait till you turn 60, or, it's sort of like they get to this age and they feel like, well, okay, it's downhill from now for now. Why? I don't need to, I'm just going to enjoy what I enjoy. I'm going to eat what I eat, and I'm not going to worry about it because I'm not going to live forever anyway. And I ran into a little guy up at Cripple Creek. We were up there at this little gambling town, this historical town. And I was just sitting there eating an ice cream, and he walked by and started talking to me because of my little Yorkie. And he had a Yorkie that had recently passed away. And he said he had had several strokes, and he was 60 years old, and he just didn't think he should get another dog. And because, at this point, why would he do that? And I said, why give up? Why? He said he had kids. I said, would your kids take care of your dog if something happened to you? And he said, well, yeah, they definitely would. I said, you need to get yourself a dog. Don't quit living. Do the things you love to do. We probably talked for 15 minutes. We exchanged first names and promised to pray for each other. Like, to me, that's the church. That's the community that I want to be a part of, is that type of thing. And when I say church, I don't mean any sort of church, any particular church. I just think we are all in this together. And we need to have compassion, for each other's journeys. So when somebody tells me, like I've had several times recently, oh, well, wait till you get to 60. It's like they want to put another hurdle in my way. I was starting to, a lot of my friends, my very close friends, are on their own journeys. And I know they have certain beliefs about their own ceiling that they've placed on themselves, about what's possible at their age and because of their genetics. Well, I can tell you my genetics were against me. Like, if I just relied on that, my genetics were against me. Then I started looking around at what's right and not what's wrong, because you can always find reasons. But if you start looking for the reasons to keep it up, like if you have grandkids, you want to keep it up for them. I did not have grandkids. I think if I had, it would have given me a reason. I have my little Roscoe, I have my husband, I have my kids, but I knew I'd done my best as a mom and as a wife. I really felt that. I felt complete. Like, I feel like I've done my very best by them. And what else was there? And I'd had a good career. I'd really had a good career. And so now John's retired and we're home, and I feel like I've got this sort of new outlook and new, it's like it's all brand new again. And I don't have grandkids, but I will have granddaughter next year. So, and that's because my daughter has found someone, and we have a new little girl in our life now. And anyway, so I'm really, really, like, I feel so blessed. And I think, wow, if I would have given up, I wouldn't be at this point, like, who knows what other things are in store for me in my life. And so I went to the doctor yesterday for a checkup, and John and I both went in, and my doctor left me, he did my lab works and everything. He called me this morning at about 7:20, and I was still sleeping, which normally I would have used to been up, I would have answered, but I'm kind of glad I didn't answer, because he left me a long message with all the details. And he basically said, I have the lab work of, he said my lab work is perfect. He said my cholesterol numbers are the positives, and all are just off the charts positive. He said, girl, you're going to live forever. I mean, of course I'm not, but he said there is no indication of anything wrong. He said, you keep doing what you're doing, retirement agrees with you. And I am so thrilled about that. I'm so happy. And John has made a lot of progress too. And his cholesterol numbers were up last year, and he was considering going on some medicine. And he doesn't need to do that now. His numbers are coming down. Now, you guys see my hauls and you see what I eat, and I'm not exactly I'm a lot of times I buy junk food and things, and a lot of that, I will say, is not for us. It's because we're going to go to when we camp with a group, and we bring a lot of junk food, because it's some younger people there, and I just always have a bunch of stuff. It's just something I've always done. But sometimes yesterday, after we went for our lab work, I thought, okay, I'm going to go treat myself, because I'm between that just got my lab work done and I don't know what it is. So if once I hear the lab work, if it's not good news, I'm going to restrict myself again. So I went and bought Sugar Pops cereal, which I have not eaten what I call kids sugar cereal in a long time, but I bought that and some Apple Jacks. And I ate some of that and I bought some Cheetos and I ate that. Not a lot, just a little bit of each. And last night I felt really yucky. Like I cannot eat like this, not because of my lab works or any fear. It's because I don't feel good after I eat that way. So I'm working on mindfulness and really paying attention to how I feel after I eat these things. And I do not feel well when I eat those things. I got some brown rice out for dinner, and then I did this vegetable soup that my mom used to do when I was a kid, and I ate that, and I thought, well, that's pretty good. And I used the Amy's soup, and I really like Amy's brand soup. And there's some other things that I use, but my blood work was, in his words, just perfect. He was so thrilled. There were no numbers that were, I mean, everything was within normal limits. He said the 90-year-old women that he says, I have the blood work of those women, like the ones that lived to in their 90s. So the other thing I want to say is, when I was on this recent reunion trip, I talked to a couple of cousins and what they're doing. And one particular cousin, and he was sharing his story of how he's a little older than me. He's 60, I think he's like 65, maybe 67, something like that. He doesn't look it. So I'm not exactly sure how old he is. I feel like I'm 58 and I feel like he's like about my age, but I know he's older. And he talked about how, he went from like I say, he lost about 35 pounds. He retired, lost 35 pounds, and he works out 5 days a week. And he looks phenomenal. And I'm like, okay, he's got my genetics. He's working out at 65. And I said, well, we went into detail. I asked him, what are you doing? How much are you lifting? That gave me a renewed focus and excitement over what I'm doing, because so many people have told me, well, don't hurt yourself. Well, you don't, why don't you just enjoy life? Why are you working so hard? Well, I'm not. I'm having a blast. I actually really enjoy strength training. So I started upping my weights when I got back from my trip, and I'm lifting 5 days a week. Carefully, I'm using my trainer's book and doing her main workouts that I have talked about before. And I'm also doing VR about 20 minutes afterwards and doing some total body things that incorporate squats, lunges, um, cardio. So, who says you can't get a workout in VR? Look at this. That's from Supernatural Fitness. Unreal. Supernatural. Unreal Fitness. And sometimes I just get on my stationary bike and I ride, but I'm doing something 5 days a week at least. And in between that, I'm taking Roscoe for walks and things. And I know I've talked about this before, but I think sometimes, and this is why I journal. This is why I come and talk about these things with you, because it is so easy for me to get caught up into what everybody else is telling me I should do and not listening to my heart. And when I do that, when I take the time to really get clear about why I want to do this, what are my motives, and I do that through journaling and just reflecting, sitting outside under my tree and watching the squirrels and just asking myself these questions, which is what coaching is all about, which is my background in my career. So I know how to do this for everybody else, but I'm now doing it for myself with a whole new commitment to doing that. And when I do those things, it's very clear to me what I want to do. And then I doubt myself. Can I really do this? Does it make sense at my age? I mean, I'm not going to live forever. And all these things start going through my head. And I see some of my friends who are younger than me who are struggling. And I also know, and I've talked with my friends about this, how we get when I don't know how I felt when I was way, at the heaviest weight and probably at the worst fitness level I've ever been in my life. And then I would run into these ladies who were 20 years older than me, 15 years older than me, and they were fit and they were exercising. And honestly, they kind of annoyed me. And because now they set the bar. Like, I was gonna just go down this comfortable project or whatever, path, and kind of stay in my comfy zone, and you know, and then they sort of gave me a reason to jump out of that. Well, I jumped out of that rut, and I haven't looked back, and I'm not going to. It's been 8 years, 8.5, and I'll be celebrating my 59th birthday in a few months. And so I am just really, really grateful that I have learned to stay true to what it is I want to accomplish, why I want to accomplish it. I want to be here, um, and stay as healthy as I can for as long as possible. And when that changes, that changes. And as we all know, that could change anytime. I mean, we never know what's going to happen. So, not to make anybody feel bad if you're in a whole different situation, because we don't have control over certain things that happen to us. I know people who've gotten into accidents and are not mobile anymore. A friend of mine I had lunch recently with is in a wheelchair, and but she still inspired me because her spirit is still strong. And so just do what you can do, and don't feel bad over what you can no longer do, but don't limit yourself and let other people tell you what you should be doing at your age. That's nonsense, in my opinion. And if I listened to that, I would be in a whole I wouldn't be vlogging, and I would be in a I don't know where I'd be today. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. And I was gonna share a couple of other things too, but the video is going way too long. I'm gonna talk about some of the skincare I'm doing on a different video, and I've kind of set this little area up. And when John's on the treadmill, it's a really good time for me to come on here and talk to you. So I want to thank you for being here. And I hope that something I've said has helped you. I've been wanting to do an update on my fitness level. And yeah, I do work hard, and it is work. I'm not coasting, I'm pushing myself. And for a while, I was scared to push myself anymore. And then I've just gotten this renewed commitment, and I'm not afraid to push myself anymore. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I have and enjoy my life, and I'm going to continue to bring that to you. So let me know in the comments if anything I have said relates or resonates with you, and if you have any tips for me or any comments, and I'd love to hear your own stories. So please feel free to interact in the comments with me and with each other. Just keep it respectful and kind. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. Take care.